National Assembly of Guyana has approved an additional $6 billion to be spent in further advancing the scope and range of agriculture development in Guyana. This brings to $38 billion the sum to be expended this year on the sector. Speaking in defense of the supplementary funding, Agriculture Minister MUSTAPHA told the House that of the $6 billion being sought, $4 billion is for Gaisuku's ongoing expansion of cultivation and modernization efforts, while the balance will go to the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, NDIA, the National Research and Extension Institute, NARI, the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, GLDA, and the new Guyana Marketing Corporation, GMC.
2.5 billion, 2.507 billion for NDIA, 437,750 for NARI, and 25 billion for GMC, giving you 2.969,753.
No, that's not what I... Please, listen to me.
Honorable, allow him to finish. He was still on the floor.
And I will lay over, Mr. Chair, the programs that will entails the 2.5. I have it here. I can list it. I can go through it. And let me list some of those programs that we'll do. And if for the member's sake, a number of projects. We have, for example, we have the silting of drain at State Farm in Essequibo Region 2 for 3.3 million. Repair to 2 drainage structure at Providence, Lower Pomeroon River, Region 2, 3.5. Repair to Northern Sluice Door at Golden Fleece, Region 2, 4,055,000. Mechanical excavation of drainage and irrigation channel at Charles Garway, Lower Bonasika, 13,900,000. Mechanical excavation of drainage and irrigation channel at Rajendra Prasad at our Aran area, Lower Bonasika, 13.9. Mechanical excavation of drainage and irrigation channel at Lower Bonasika again, 13.9. Mechanical excavation of drainage channel at Potasee, Free and Easy, West Bank Demerara. And I can list is 100, is 77 new projects, or not new projects, current project that we'll do rehabilitation, repairs to. Now in the NARI one, I can also talk about what we'll be doing there. What we'll be doing in NARI, and I want the honorable member to listen, we will rehab the nurseries across our country. What we have now in this country, have a demand for planting material. We have seen over the last 3 years, farmers coming on board in droves. We have seen food production have improved tremendously. So all the nurseries, 7 nurseries in our country, we will ensure that we develop it to be more responsive to the needs of the farmers. That will, and I have the appropriation here. That here we have 11 nurseries, $69 million. We'll go into that to do new nurseries and rehab these nurseries, places like Timeri, Kairuni, number 63, where you come from, Mr. Ramston, your family, them can get proper planting material and so. And what we will also do, we are now embarking on something called tissue culture. Tissue culture, we started it, an experiment, and we are just producing just about 13,000 plants annually, tissue culture plants, planting material. What we are doing now, we are working with a company from India, the Terry Company, to develop large-scale tissue culture in Guyana. We will be able to produce 1 million plants annually to farmers to plant a different variety, and you have $268.7 million have been allocated to this project. In another year from now, or less than a year, we'll have that lab functioning. We have specialists from India. When I went there, the president went there, we have had a number of discussions, and they are already in the country looking at our system at NARI. And then I spoke in my budget debate about the shade house program that we have. I said we'll replicate that across the country. We have now about 150 young people in Region 4 that are involved in shade house activity. We have already, that shade house at Mandripo have earned approximately $50 million for this year already. Less than a year, they have already earned $50 million. I am looking now to take this program across this country. where we'll purchase another 100 shade house to take it to places like Buxton, Region 6, Linden, Canals Folder, Region 2, so that we can have all the young people in our country to go into this activity. Remember, I said we had a number of agronomists who would have completed their tertiary education who are now working behind a desk. We want them to get involved in agriculture. We want agriculture to be more attractive, rather than, in their opinion, they are seeing agriculture as a menial job, a job for old people who never went to school and so. So we want to change that concept, and we are having very good results. A lot of young people now is involved in agriculture, and they are making it now their livelihood, where they are going and putting their, not only their money and resources and the help from the government, but their skills into the agriculture sector. That is why entire Caribbean today is looking forward to Guyana to drive that system. You're laughing, Mr. Ramjetan, honorable member, but let me tell you, I sent people to Barbados. Prime Minister Motley would have called, and we sent specialists to Barbados. We send specialists now to Trinidad, and they are helping to resuscitate the rice industry in Trinidad. And when you go to Trinidad, the Trinidadians now have kudos for Guyanese. They want to work with us. That's the kind of way we have been doing things over the last 3 years. And Guyana is driving this process, and will be successful.
Responding to questions from honorable opposition members on whether these projects mentioned were not considered in the budget laid before the House earlier this year, the Agriculture Minister said the development of the sector is fast-paced and as such demands for service is always evolving and government must respond.
Chair, he said when we plan our programs last year, we had the budget out. There are new things coming, and we are not static like the AP and UFC. We had a vision, and we have vision. That is why we are moving the sector. You're seeing the sector is moving. So you can't just be in a tunnel vision you have and just budget for some and spend it for the entire year. You have new things coming on stream. For example, if you look in the press yesterday, we have moved production of brackish shrimp now from 10,000 kilogram monthly to 120,000 kilogram now. Right? We have moved that. That's a new sector. The other day, we started the experiment at Lake Kapoi and Mainstay. You saw in the press the Tambiki, the result there. So these are new things, Mr. Chair, and I think the opposition should wholeheartedly support these programs. This will help the entire Guyanese and Guyana society to move this process forward. That is why we are not putting all our eggs in one basket and say oil and gas sector will bring growth. We have growth in the non-oil sector. That's the point I was making that day. And if you look at the reports in the country at the end of this year, you will have bumper production in the agriculture sector.
Minister MUSTAPHA, in another response to an opposition member's query, this time in relation to the maintenance and upkeep of drainage and irrigation channels in regions 4 and 5, said government has and continues to keep its ear to the ground, listening for the concerns of residents in communities not only in Region 4 and 5, but all across Guyana.
First of all, I want to inform the honorable member that he talked to me on a regular basis. So I don't know this misconception he's bringing to this house and saying that we have to wait until the minister, the vice president, or the president go there. I normally go to MMA in that area on a regular basis. We have our member of parliament, we have the regional and vice chairman, we have a number of personnel in that area. The honorable member, Mr. Jordan, could know that he can make contact. Only the last parliament that we had, he spoke to me out there. He never mentioned it. Never mentioned that there are clock canals and drain in Region 5. But I want to tell you, Mr. Chair, that thousands of rods of canals we have done in Region 5. And if the member would have, I don't know where he took that picture, because remember he was talking not so long ago. He came to this house and misled it and said about the abattoir in Region 5 Anvawa. And again, I am saying I don't know where the honorable member has or got those pictures from, but I want to assure him that if there is any condition like that in Region 5, I am willing to look at it, and we will ensure that we do it, because we take development in every corner in this country. And a number of areas in Region 5, we have done work.
The Agriculture Minister also shared some insight on the plans for the development of pastures for cattle in several regions of the country under the sums allocated to the GLDA.
We will do these development across, as the honorable member would have mentioned, in those areas, places like In Region 5, we'll do it at Derry, Cabo, and Davis, those 3 areas. Develop 6,600 acres of pasture land. You know now that we're building a milk parlor in Region 5. We already have a milk plant built at Anvawak there, a private milk plant. Yesterday only I delivered to farmers in Region 5 and Region 4 a number of milking machines, and we are seeing the population in cattle now is increasing, especially in the dairy development that we have started. So the pasture here, this will cater for about, in Region 5, we'll expend $88.7 million to do pasture development there. In Region 10, 300 acres of pasture they develop at Kokwani. I went there about 6 months ago, and the farmers in Kokwani say they are getting a lot of conflict between cash crop farmers, between farmers and cattle owners. So we are developing the pasture, we'll fence it, and the cattle owners here will have that facility. We'll expend $4.3 million in there. In Region 2, 300 acres earmarked for pasture development at Aurora zone in Essequibo at a cost of $4.3 million. And in Region 3, 180 acres of pasture developed at Windsor Forest. This here, Mr. Chair, you will see that last year, or this year, we have seen the growth in the dairy or the cattle industry by 9%. And by the end of 2023, we are hoping with this development coming on stream, we'll see the growth in the cattle industry, including dairy and milk, dairy and beef, by 12.1% approximately. That's the projection that we have.
Part of the funds to be channeled to the Guyana Sugar Corporation is $1.5 billion to facilitate the rehabilitation of close to 1,900 hectares of abandoned lands at Albion, Blairmont, Rose Hall, and at Iflat. The minister also told the National Assembly that the Rose Hall estate is on track for a grand reopening by the end of September this year.